That song is like lying on a beach while the band shrinks themselves into your ears and tap dances on your eardrums. Think about that for a minute. Alright, number 6 through 10 of my top 100 albums of all time. We have almost made it to the end. These albums are some of the best ones I've ever heard in my life, and I think they're extremely special to me, so I hope that they'll be special to you after you inevitably listen to them, because otherwise, why are you watching this series? If you missed out on any videos in this series, make sure you go back and check them out. In the description are all the videos leading up to this, but without further ado, let's dive into the top 10. If you haven't already, it'd be awesome if you'd like this video, hit the red subscribe button, and turn your bell notifications on so you don't miss out on any weekly videos I put out. Number 10, Pearl Jam, Vitalogy. Vitalogy is my favorite Pearl Jam record. Oddly enough, there's a song on this album that I just can't stand listening to, Bugs, which ultimately is kind of a joke song if anything. The strong material on here far outweighs that one outlier. The heaviness that won hearts on 10 and Versus prior to this is definitely present on here with Last Exit, Spin the Black Circle, Not For You, and Whipping. And the softer side they occasionally show is definitely present with discography's standout song Nothingman. The song Tremor Christ actually shows a bit of where the band is going with kind of the contemplative, experimental art rock. One of my all-time favorite Pearl Jam songs is Corduroy, which is on this record. It is a live show staple, and arguably their biggest song of all time, Better Man, is also on this record. Come on! Vitalogy is the honed result of what this band built over their first 2 albums, and simultaneously a look at where they're going. Because of this, Vitalogy is the best Pearl Jam album in my mind, and it's the one I go back to most frequently when I'm in the mood. This is an original sealed press from the 90s, which I cherish. I do have a copy that's open because they did another super deluxe box set, like the 10 one, for Versus and Vitalogy put together, which you can see right here. I really hope they continue doing them with other Pearl Jam albums. They look so lonely on my shelf without a No Code and a Yield and all the rest of the albums in those super deluxe formats. Maybe one day. Number 9, Jose Gonzalez, In Our Nature. Jose is a unicorn of a musician. His music is intimate, warm, and magical, and his live show replicates that feeling to the nth degree. He is almost of another planet, but in actuality, he's just from Sweden. We are very, very lucky to have his music on beck and call whenever we feel like it, and on vinyl, it is an entirely new experience. First time I ever heard Jose, I was absolutely stopped in my tracks. It was his cover of the Knife's song, Heartbeats. He stripped it down to the most fragile, gentle guitar and vocals, much like my favorite João Gilberto. And if I had to think about it, hard, actually not that hard, it's probably my favorite song of all time. I even tracked down the 7-inch split of the song and had him sign it for me, at the same time that he signed this, of course. That song's actually not on this album, it's on his debut, Veneer. But In Our Nature is the first album I ever heard of his, so it's the most special to me. Some of my favorite songs of his are on here, including Down the Line, Killing for Love, In Our Nature, and Cycling Trivialities. They're standouts among the 10 perfect tracks. Another one on this record is the Joseified Massive Attack hit Teardrop. He is so good at taking electronic music and turning it into his style. I just wish there was an album full of these beautiful reinterpretations. Jose only has 3 albums, which is a true tragedy, and I really hope this year he's going to announce a follow-up to Vestiges and Claws. It has been far too long, and we need some new Jose in our lives ASAP. Until then, I'll be spinning these regularly. I actually was able to track down the limited version of this record, which is not easy to find. It is on beautiful clear vinyl, and I am very happy to own it. Number 8, Radiohead, In Rainbows. I bet you guys were wondering which Radiohead album is going to be high up on the list. This was the pick. Did you guess right? Radiohead rears its head on this list one final time. This was actually the album that turned me into a Radiohead fan. I enjoyed a lot of their stuff up to this point, singles, didn't really give them too much credit, but in 2007 when this came out, this became the soundtrack of my first year at college. It encapsulates the beauty and weirdness that Radiohead exhibits throughout their entire career, and they straddle that line so wonderfully, but for me, this is the greatest cohesive body of songs they've ever put out. 15 Step is one of the band's best opening tracks, and that's actually something they're known for. That song is like lying on a beach while the band shrinks themselves into your ears and tap dances on your eardrums. Think about that for a minute. And then All I Need and Nude, specifically the final moments of Nude, are 2 of the most beautiful songs of all time, no doubt. Weird Fish's Arpeggio is one of those weird fever dreams that I never want to wake from once I'm listening to it. This album is also historical because it was one of the first, if not the first album to come out and say, pay what you want, which is obviously a staple now that Bandcamp adopted that model. But they did it first, and they did it best because it made them a ton of money from their superfans. Absolutely brilliant move on their part. The regular pressing of this album sounds fine, sounds good, but I promise you, if you can track down the box set, which I'm holding the cover down here. This box set comes with two 45 RPM discs, and I swear to you, this album, you've never heard it until you've heard it through this set. If you can find it, definitely do so. It also comes with a CD that has a bunch of the B-sides from the album that I honestly hope will one day get pressed to vinyl, because some of those are just as good as the album tracks. Number 7, Vampire Weekend, Contra. There's something extremely special about this record. I remember following all the announcements before the album came out, getting extremely excited, waiting for a leak, as we used to do back in the day. And the night it leaked, I remember I was on AIM with some of my friends, and we were in a chat room listening to it for the first time, sharing our thoughts, and I remember every song just blowing me away, having been a huge fan of their debut album before this, the self-titled. One of my really good friends at the time, Mikey, for those of you who remember the Killer's discography video I did years ago, he was in that. We went and did something called a Contra cruise when this came out, and we drove around our town in New Jersey, and we listened to the whole album at least twice. That was special, those moments were special, and every time I listen to this album, it brings me back to those special times. The nostalgia is clearly strong, as I'm describing, but this album is far more than just nostalgia. Vampire Weekend mastered their brand of preppy, Afrobeat-inspired indie pop, and the first album is a testament to that. Contra took literally everything I loved about the first album and improved on it. Simple catchy songs like Mansard Roof, Oxford Comma, and Campus were met and turned into Holiday and White Sky. Goofy, chaotic anthems like A-Punk and Cape Cod Kwassa Kwassa were leveled up and turned into Cousins and Giving Up the Gun. The softer tracks like The Kids Don't Stand a Chance and I Stand Corrected were transformed into the breathtaking I Think You're a Contra and the extremely contemplative Taxi Cab. And then we have the more sonically complex experimental tracks like Horchata, Run, California English, and Diplomat's Son, which kind of give you an idea of where the band was heading to. This album is a 10 out of 10. It's my favorite thing they've ever done, but as Father of the Bride showed me, they are continuing to impress me, and I'm excited to see what comes next. And number 6, AltJ and Awesome Wave, Otherworldly. There is no album on the planet that sounds like this. Syrupy, sensual, aggressive when necessary, with beautiful sounds filling in the rest. And Awesome Wave is just that. Awesome. The vocals are as smooth as they are feral, hungry, and craving your attention. Attention that you are very happy to give. First time I heard this band was when their single Fitz Pleasure played on the radio, where the lead singer sung with his signature strange vocal style, and blaring synths came in the back, while the band played their instruments and noodled all around them. The construction of this album's narrative journey is confusing and captivating, and the whole time you're listening to it, you just want to wrap your head around what the band is serving up sonically. Standout tracks for me are Something Good, which you should definitely watch the music video to get a deeper, richer connection to the song. Tessellate with the intro before it, and then of course the final song, the Bollywood-inspired Taro. I love this album. The reason I love this album so much is because it's one of those things that I never am not in the mood to listen to. Anytime anyone puts on an AltJ song from this album, I'm super into it, and it doesn't sound like anything else. That's what's so cool about it. If I'm in the mood for this kind of music, I can only go to this album. Glass Animals sounds a little like this, but it's not quite as good. Although I do like Zaba. I have this really nice blue, kind of sky blue, marbly pressing. Looks cool. I think Newberry did it, but if you don't own this record, you owe it to yourself to find it. Alright guys, we have done the unthinkable. We have reached my top 5 albums of all time, which I know you guys have been waiting for. That'll be in the next video, which will be tomorrow. So look forward to that. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you are so that you don't miss out on when I put the video and you can't leave first as a comment. Stick around to see what else is coming. More stuff this year that you're going to love. Thanks for watching. Take it easy.